to have you back. If you are just joining us, this is Firecrackers. You've missed quite a lot, but don't worry, you can catch up with us on our Facebook page. We stream live on Facebook. And now to the topic that we have at hand, that is the tax reform bill. In the upper and lower chamber, well, the lower chamber they are still going to deliberate on this, but in the upper chamber it has passed second reading, but not without some grunting and grumbling. And despite the fact that it has even passed for second reading, they were still giving some weeks to make it open so that they would make sure that they assure some people that this bill is for the interest of all and it's not trying to, maybe shoot some people in the leg, and it's not to some disadvantage of some, but for the whole of Nigeria, it's supposed to be to our own advantage. So now let us talk about this tax reform bills. First, let us see, what does Nigeria stand to gain from this bill?
Okay, the tax laws are outdated. They are very old. There have been some cosmetic changes in the past, but what we're having right now is a reform, is a transformation of those laws to ensure that it is not burdensome on people, and that will help with compliance issues, to ensure that collection is easier and more efficient, to ensure that issues around people having to pay 60, 50 different taxes are taken off the table, to also ensure that the people with the least capacity to pay are not unduly burdened with taxation, to ensure that small businesses can grow and are not bogged down by taxes, having identified the fact that these businesses employ a lot of people. So this is an excellent piece of work that has been done. I used excellent, not perfect. And once you look at the reality about the nature of public policies are not made because they have because they made 100% of the people happy. No, that's not. It is that they bring more benefit to most people. That is how public policies are. If you give the whole Nigeria power today, what do you think will happen to the generator sellers? What about all those artisans that the job they learned is how to repair a generator? It's gone. It's gone. So are we now going to say electricity is therefore bad because it will wipe out generator businesses? No. And that is exactly the nature of public policy. So we're not going to have a perfect law. We're going to have a law that delivers the most benefits to the most people. And that is what we have with this
the tax reform bill.
Yeah.
Whenever people hear tax, a lot of people maybe automatically always think that they want to take my money away from me, my hard-earned money, and then we already have a lot of Nigerians thinking that they are not really benefiting a lot from the country. Why do they have to give so much and then get very little in return? So what do you think people need to know about this tax even when it comes to paying taxes? Because compared to other countries around the world, the way we pay tax in Nigeria, it seems like we are not really paying anything.
That's the reality.
It's just like, oh, we are just living in the country for free. And a lot of these people, is when they leave the country that the reality of what tax should be actually gets dawned on them. So how do we make Nigerians, first of all, get used to this, the compulsory thing that we must all do, that is paying tax for the development of the country, and not thinking that you paying tax, it's a dead end, because at the end of the day, you're enriching some people and then you're getting poorer.
Okay, there's an unwritten rule about taxation between the people that are paying the taxes and the government that is collecting the taxes. And that unwritten law is like saying, I will give you my taxes, then you will use my taxes to better my life. It's not written anywhere, but that is the understanding. So when people are paying taxes, they also expect to see taxpayers' money at work. Good roads, water, electricity, school, education, healthcare, and all the rest. When they don't see those things, there is a resistance that is naturally created. That is one layer. The second layer of that unwritten rule is when they see their money going to what I'll call wastage and, being used to pay the fat cats. So they say, oh, they are buying this for these people. Oh, a house has been repaired for 21 billion. All those kind of things also depress taxpayers. So I say, oh, that is what they're going to use my money for after all. So that is one of the problems that we suffer from in Nigeria. But with a reform like what we're trying our hands on now, the way it will start, it will relieve, especially people at the lower rung of the ladder, of a lot of challenges about taxes, both from collection, ease of payments, to the fact that even some people that used to pay taxes are not going to be paying anything any longer. So maybe, just maybe, government will seize this new initiative and say, now I want to be able to show the people what I'm doing with their taxes. I want taxpayers' money in action to be vivid, to everybody to see. And then when you do that, you continue to build confidence of the people. They are more relaxed. They don't feel angry paying taxes, though nobody likes to pay taxes at any level in the real sense. But if at least they can see the taxpayers' money in action, the resistance goes down a little bit. And that is very important. So this particular bill addresses a lot of things, from individual, what you call the personal income tax issues, where most of the people, who earn less, some of them will not even be paying anything that they used to pay before. And then those who are already paying are paying less now under this new law. The same goes for the businesses. Before, a business with a revenue of 25 million was a threshold for paying taxes per annum. Now that 25 million has been moved to 50 to say, if your business is doing 50 million, don't even bother yourself. We're not collecting any taxes from you. Just go and enjoy yourself. The same thing goes for VAT. The VAT has been placed on the table, and we have included a lot of items that were not there before as exempted. These are items that the people with the lower capacity to pay consume. So things around healthcare, education, food, and all those things, the VAT, they're not VATable. So I think it is a tax law, not yet a law, a tax bill that is focused on the people, and it should help us a great deal to move into the next season as far as taxation is concerned. That is not to say there are no people that are grumbling about what is going on.
Definitely, because if we are now to look at it on the state level, well, a lot of resistance seems to be coming from the Northern Governors Forum, the Northern Elders Forum, and some other people, not just in the North, but mostly. We have a lot of people in the North that might not be comfortable with this. In fact, when the bill was first introduced, they were like, okay, they should probably still look at it thoroughly. But then, thankfully, it has scaled second reading now. So what do you think they might be afraid of for this bill? Because from your explanation, from the explanation we got from the FIRS chairman and all the stakeholders that are on this bill, seems to be something that a lot of Nigerians should be embracing wholeheartedly. But if we still have some sectors that they are not so up with this, what do you think might be the cause of their concern?
Okay, if you take VAT, for example, there is a basis for sharing out the VAT collection. Now that basis is going to change in the new law. And the nature of the changes will place emphasis on who gets what, who is actually more responsible for generating this money we're sharing. So once you go along that line, states that might feel that we're not contributing to this money, that it depends on how it has been defined anyway. So for example, if I'm a producer of commodities, I produce food items, and those items that I produce have been removed from VAT. Now my colleague is an industrial guy. He's adding value to primary products, so it's not excluded. He has to pay VAT. So those guys that are generating VAT, those states will get more. And the ones that are generating only non-vatable items, or that are not even generating, will get less. That could cause rancor. So the income that are coming to some guys, they are scared that those incomes will reduce. And I don't think, like I said, the law is not perfect. Perfection is not the issue. But is it good for purpose? I think so. So those states must be asking themselves, so what can I do to rev up the engine of my own revenue, of my own VAT revenue? And that should be the focus. So what you need to do to ensure that you will also get a fat share, go and do it. Go and do it. The situation is this everybody going to Abuja just go and share money that you did not work for. It's not the right way to make this country better. It's not the right way. Some states to sit down there and go to Abuja to collect 80% of what they are going to spend. What nonsense. We have to do better. We cannot have, I like to use 36 cylinder engine to describe Nigeria. There's nothing like a 36 cylinder engine anyway. But let's say it's an engine that has 36 cylinders. But only 6 or 7 of these cylinders are firing. How efficient would that vehicle be? And that is part of the problem of Nigeria. It is always a difficult thing to share 2 chicken laps among 3 elders. We must do better. We must bake a bigger cake if you want a bigger share of revenue.
Definitely, because some of the controversy that has been going on about this bill is in a way to enrich Lagos State, because Lagos State is the commercial capital of Nigeria. But like you said, perhaps this should also gear other states up to make sure that their state is contributing so much. So at the end of the day, they might also get a large share of all these contributions, so that at least we would have something that we could all work on in the country.
And for Lagos State too, it could be argued that Lagos State could have a problem, because the new VAT distribution says you're not going to get this share because the headquarters of those companies are in your state. A lot of headquarters are here, which has favored Lagos State. But under the new distribution, Lagos State will still be able to get a reasonable share, because consumption becomes a factor. And if Lagos has 20 million, 22 million people, definitely a lot of consumption is going on here. So no matter how you cut or dice it, Lagos State will be there.
Yeah, because I was just about to ask that question too, because for people in the Niger Delta region, where they are facing a lot of environmental degradation due to processes of mining of crude oil and all that, they were raising concern that if this bill scales through, does it not mean that they will still be getting scraps, despite the fact that this product that is even enriching Nigeria is coming from their place?
They can't get scraps. They are going to be favored because they are producing vatable product. So they're not going to be at the receiving end, And guess what? Like I said, the laws are not meant to be perfect. Who says we cannot revisit the imperfections sometimes down the lane? But the mistake we must not make is to throw away the baby with the bathwater. This is transformational. It's an excellent piece of work. The people involved, as the leader of that particular team, has been in that space for a long time. So he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about. And we should listen to what is being discussed right now.
Definitely. Okay, now let us look at some states that what they are very good for is agriculture. And then when it comes to value-added tax and agriculture, so for a lot of states that they are contributing so much to the country in terms of providing food for the citizens, is there not some way that perhaps their worry might be substantiated that, okay, we are producing so much food for the country, and then it's just for people who are producing vatable goods that they would be getting shares? Should they not, perhaps something should be in there for them to consider them to, okay, for your hard work for feeding the nation, this is for you?
I can be sure that there is something in that law that seeks to address that part of it. And one other layer that they can add on it is to say, look, so rather than shipping out this primary product, why don't I add value too and ship out value-add product instead of plain commodities? And in the process of doing that, what are you doing? You are industrializing. As simple as that. If what I've been doing is cotton, maybe I should think of textile instead of shipping out the cotton. That's it.
So that means if we play our games right and then we make use of all the resources at our disposal, this bill could make Nigeria one great country to reckon with.
Correct. We will go back to the years before petroleum was discovered, when this nation was powered by taxation, when cows had numbers and herders paid taxes for the cows that they have. We're talking of 75 years ago. These things were there. All of a sudden, they all died. We found oil, and everybody abandoned everything, and we started feeding on oil. Now we know better.
Yeah, definitely.
We need to go back to the year of taxation. Of course, government, like I started with, when this, must do its part. There is that unwritten contract between the people and the government with respect to taxation. And when government is performing well, the resistance to taxation lowers automatically. I remember in the years of a particular governor in Lagos State, and somebody was going to extort me on certain issues of tax. I said, no, I see what the taxes are doing. I would rather pay this to Lagos State government. I'm not going to pay a reduced amount like I'm supposed to pay 50,000 and say, oh, come and pay 5,000 and go. Say, no, I'm not going to pay 5,000 to you. That is corruption. I would rather pay it to that government because I could see what the government was doing with the money.
All right. So I'm guessing this is also a call for Nigerians to be very patriotic and not try to cut corners when it comes to paying of taxes.
Of course, a lot of what we pay and call taxes are extortion. The government doesn't even get the benefit of it. Some people will just show up and say, come and pay this, and then you shoot out unreceipted money that doesn't get to the government. That is also part of what government must deal with. Who are those guys?
Especially the transportation workers too. I feel they are the ones that when it comes to tax payments in Nigeria and the double taxation, because you talk to some of them and they will say that they pay for 5 different tickets in just probably from a ride from let's say for instance like Abulegba to Ikeja, having to pay for several tickets as you are entering a local government area. But perhaps those
are the kind of things that will be streamlined under this law. Under this law, even at a more sophisticated level. I mean, you're talking of NURTW, that is not particularly sophisticated. You have the laws that are related to if you have a property close to the waters, there are certain things that are due to you. Federal government will come and knock your door, you need to pay this. Lagos State will come and knock your door, you need to pay this. It is my jurisdiction, it is their jurisdiction. We need to stop all of that.
Definitely. Thank you so much for being with us here on the program. We truly appreciated your input. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so this is where we'll be drawing the curtains close on today's episode of Firecrackers. We thank you too for being with us to the very end.